I'm Tyson Geick. You're watching the NLL Flash. Smokin Patty Gregoire joins us now to break down the Georgia Swarm's win over the New England Black Wolves this past Saturday. Pat, thanks for joining me, man. It's been a while.
Thanks a lot for having me, Tyson. I'm looking forward to spitting hot takes with you once again all NLL season long. And week one was pretty good.
The Georgia Swarm won their fourth consecutive home opener. There was one player in this game, though, that stood out to you. Who was that?
Yeah, I mean, there were a ton of players that stuck out for me on Saturday night in Georgia. Obviously, you had the 10 different goal scorers, putting the ball in the back of the net for the Swarm. But for me, it was the freshest face of them all. Holden Cattoni was impressive in his first game as a member of the Georgia Swarm. And if you were watching that game, you would have never guessed that was his first game in the blue and yellow. It looked like he gelled with that potent offense from the get-go, which is great news for Swarm fans because I think a lot of people, including myself, thought that maybe it would take some time for him to gel, considering that short training camp, not a lot of exhibition games in the mix as well. But pretty much from the get-go, Cattoni looked like he's going to be a big part of this offense. Another thing, though, that I really liked about his game on Saturday night was there's a lot of critics that say really all he can do is put the ball in the net, but he was doing much more than that. He really looked like he was buying the system, crashing, banging, setting picks, freeing up space for guys, but also his playmaking ability showed, 5 assists, but of those 5, 3 of them were primaries. So I think he's going to be such a huge piece in such a deadly, potent offense.
The New England Black Wolves seem to have a bit of a lapse in the second quarter, and you feel that this might have cost them the game.
Yeah, exactly, Tyson. That was the difference in this one, that second period. They got outscored 4-0. The game ends up being a 4-goal game, but honestly, I thought it could have been way worse if it wasn't for the play of their young netminder, Dougie Jamieson, making 17 saves in that second period alone. I thought overall, a very solid showing in his first start. But he really allowed this New England team to kind of relax, go into the room, recognize that they are still in this game. And that's something you love to see from a young goalie, allowing you to stay in games and not get rattled while you're getting peppered with shots. But from an offensive standpoint, we didn't see much of this New England Black Wolves offense, not just in the second period, but the entire first half alone. Just one 5-on-5 goal. Of their 3, 2 of them were on the power play. But they just didn't play with pace. They looked out of sync. We knew it was going to take them a little while to gel because there's so many fresh faces on that offense. But it really did take them a while to get going. They looked much better in that second half, but it just goes to show you cannot take time off in the National Lacrosse League without getting burned. Never mind a full period, especially a full period against a deadly offensive team in the Georgia Swarm. Glenn Clark, this coaching staff, they preach consistency, and that's one thing that burned them last year. Not just a game-by-game consistency issue. It was a period by period and shift by shift consistency problem that they had last year. And going into camp, that's one thing that they really wanted to focus on and preach to this team is that they need to be consistent, and we did not see that on Saturday night.
Well, we couldn't finish this video without talking about a big player who's not in the New England Black Wolves lineup right now. The big cat, Kevin CROWLEY. Do the New England Black Wolves have what it takes to be contenders this season without him?
I know it's early, but I don't want to jump to any conclusions. If they can't get a deal done for CROWLEY, meaning bringing in pieces for him, and he just sits out the entire year, I don't know if they're going to be good enough on offense to be a contender. Obviously, Callum Crawford looks like he's poised to have another big year. Tyler Digby looked very nice in that offense as well. A guy like Seth Oakes comes back into this lineup, finishes with a couple of tucks and 3 assists. You got guys like JP Keeley, Stefan LeBlanc as secondary scorers. Riley O'Connor had a big game, 5 assists. So you put all of that together, add some transition offense in there as well. Pretty solid, not bad. But this is the National Lacrosse League. I think you need to have star power up front. And of course, they have Callum Crawford, who is a superstar. But I don't know if they have enough. I think you need in the National Lacrosse League now to have a few superstars on your front door. And will the Black Wolves be able to do that without CROWLEY if they don't get a guy in? I don't know. But if he is in this offense, if they do get a deal done, I think we are having a little bit of a different conversation.
Smokin Patty Gregoire, thanks very much for joining me, man. Always great analysis. The Georgia Swarm have week 2 off and take on the Toronto Rock in week 3, while the New England Black Wolves have the Saskatchewan Rush in week 3 as well. Thanks for watching the NLL Flash. Until next time.